pleased to welcome you to meet with us. May I present the Minister of Environment of the Republic of Maldives to my right, who will also participate in this press briefing. And to his right is Selwyn Hart, a New York-based diplomat from Barbados, one of AOSIS chief negotiators. I believe he will take all the technical questions. I want to thank 350. I want to thank the youth, the Caribbean Environment Youth Organization. AOSIS wants to thank all the NGOs and people and the media of the world who first and foremost understand why we are here. Because we are facing an emergency, a planetary emergency that affects everyone, but first and foremost it affects AOSIS. We are not exaggerating. We are not trying to draw attention to ourselves. We are stating the reality of our people, our economies, our societies, and our very territorial existence. At the rate of warming, which we are now at 0.8 degrees, without adequate regulations, we are going to see more and more loss, more and more damage. And we have come to Copenhagen to ensure that there is a legally binding instrument that can deliver for us on three fronts. The first of that is emissions management, and better still, emissions reduction. We understand that there are groups of countries experiencing different levels of development and therefore necessarily will have different levels of emissions. But the process is clear. We have spoken before, most recently in the Bali Action Program, that the major emitters in the industrial countries must take the major responsibility for the past and the major responsibility as we go forward. So emission reductions is important. Developing countries will do and are doing our part. So we have come here for those emissions to be legally committed to. Secondly, we want these emissions in the past and in the future, adaptation and mitigation, to be contained in a legally binding instrument also. And we want the financing for that to be predictable, to be adequate, and to be accessible. For that, we need a legal instrument. And thirdly, we need a legal instrument because we need all these governance and management mechanisms to be collectively agreed to and to be consistent across the board. Again, for that, we need a legally binding instrument. That is why AOSIS, consistent with the mandate of our heads who met in New York in September of this year, instructed us to come here and engage to prepare for them so that they can prepare for our prime ministers. And we have therefore this morning released our version, which contains our vision of what a legally binding instrument from COP15 could contain in substance and in form that protects the safety, security, and integrity of the small island states, low-lying coastal areas. That is our membership in the first instance, and everybody else as well.